Market to Market is everywhere you are. Subscribe to Market on YouTube, find us on the PBS video app to stream on demand, and add our 3 podcasts on your favorite podcasting app.
This sort of COVID leading into the supply chain challenge is something that's unprecedented. In the last quarterly meeting that we had for our team members at Vermeer, I said, we can't even look back and say it's not been this bad in 10 years or 20 years. It's never been this bad. So, we've been around for 73 years, and the supply chain challenges have never been this challenging. And, our suppliers are doing the best they can. We're having very transparent, straightforward conversations with them. It's just a matter of COVID caused companies to pull back, and instead of demand for goods tapering back, it actually accelerated, and we've been playing catch up ever since. And very much driven by workforce shortages. And the other thing, which is kind of hard to get your mind around, is you may have 95% of the components to build a machine, but it's not done until you have 100%. And so you have 95% of what you need, and you're waiting on that 5%, and that 5% keeps changing. It's not consistent. What is that final 5% that you need to finish a machine? And those are the challenges that our supply chain team are working on, literally not daily, but hourly, trying to make sure that we're getting the components in that we need.
That 5%, is there any, you talk about it shifting and evolving. Mm-hmm. Is there ever a part where you've said, well, why can't we just do that 5%? Because is Vermeer one of those companies that you didn't make everything here, you would bring in some supplies? Like a lot of the bigger ones have done that now. They don't make everything in-house that they used to. So have you had a discussion where you've said, well, maybe we're going to have to start doing some of these things ourselves?
We have had some of those discussions. It's interesting with regards to doing work with sheets of steel. We're actually quite vertically integrated as it is. We do a lot of our own bending, machining, turning, welding, a lot of the operations that have to do with the steel that makes up our equipment. And it's ironic, even though the price of steel has gone up like crazy, we have really not had significant challenges with regards to steel. But when we think of some of the other components, it's not as easy as just thinking that we're going to make them, because our suppliers have supply chain constraints. So if we decided that we were going to do what this supplier is doing, suddenly we would have the supply chain challenges that they already have. Mm-hmm.
What's been the biggest frustration in all of this?
You have huge demand, you have the facilities to do it, you've got the team to do it, and you just can't get in all the components you need to build the full machines. If we instantly had all the supply that we need, then we would instantly need to hire a lot more people. And we're really tailoring the rate at which we hire people based on trying to make sure we can keep work in front of those team members. So that's the biggest challenge, is just knowing that customers are going to wait months to get their hands on a piece of Vermeer equipment that they need. And we desperately want to build it faster, and we just can't.
I heard you give an interview recently where you said, we normally stock our equipment in a certain spot, kind of as like a launching point, a go point. Have you been able to do that this year?
No, and that has been another challenge. So far there has been a couple hurricanes that have hit the United States and caused damage, and it's not easy to kind of build up a stock that can be immediately deployed after a hurricane, but we like to try. And this year that has been more challenging than ever before. And so a hurricane strikes, our dealer will inform us of how much equipment they think that they will need to help and support and get into the hands of their customers to do this work.
Give me 2 products that have been a challenge for you, maybe before and after, as you talk about the evolving 5%.
Yeah, and once again, it keeps changing. So at times it feels like, maybe hydraulic componentry is our number one issue. At times it feels like wiring harnesses are our number one issue. Engines, components that go into track systems, hoses for radiators and other hydraulic componentry. So it honestly just keeps changing. But at the same time, once again, I feel as though our suppliers are, doing the best that they can to, get the workforce they need, to try to plan for it, to try to accommodate us. We have very constructive and transparent and straightforward conversations. It's just when the pandemic broke, everybody kind of pulled back, and we've been playing catch up ever since. And for a while, it felt like we were not too far away from starting to eat into our backlog, and now the past few months it's gone the wrong direction again, where our ability to build to meet demand just keeps falling farther behind. And we're not alone in that. We know from other manufacturers in Iowa and around the country, we're all in the same boat. It's all over the news, but yeah, it's just frustrating when customers are desperate to get their hands on a new piece of equipment and they've got months of backlog.
The full interview will be available Tuesday through our YouTube and MTOM podcast feed.